Hello and welcome to TotoTCG. You are here with me, Matthew, and we are back here with another Pokemon video. So of course this is another news update, which means we have another new card to go by. So of course it is a new GX. And I say new GX, it's also a new Pokemon. This Pokemon was probably revealed maybe about 3, 4, maybe 5 months ago. It's a pretty interesting looking Pokemon. It's over the 800 mark now for Pokemon, which is amazing. Just to think that there is over 800 Pokemon, that is insane. But which one am I talking about? Well, we're talking about this one right here, and that being Zeraora GX. I believe I'm saying that right, Zeraora. It looks absolutely amazing. It's almost like an electricity cat. I don't want to say tiger, it looks more like a cat. I'm not too sure. It just looks like a sort of cat, to be honest. It looks awesome, though, I have to say. The contrast between like yellow and black is amazing. That blue sort of like crest that's coming out from the top of its forehead looks amazing. Definitely gives a lot more detail, and the card itself does look amazing. We're going to go through the whole card, and then what combinations of different cards I think could work well with it. So let's crack on. So, of course, it is a Lightning Pokemon, HP of 190. That's pretty good. A lot of Pokemon now, which are basics, are becoming a 190 Pokemon. Think Buzzwole, Lapras, that sort of stuff. So that's pretty cool. Of course, it is a basic Pokemon, so you don't need to evolve it. And that is pretty good for this, because this thing has got some pretty interesting abilities and moves, which we're going to have a look at right now. So, for the first thing you'll see, we do have an ability here, and it's a pretty good one indeed. The ability is called Electric Zone. Pretty nice, you know, it's an electric Pokemon, so I know Lightning Pokemon, but Electric Zone, nevertheless. What does it translate as? Each of your Pokemon that has a lightning energy attached to it has no retreat cost. That's pretty good. This could be very, very nice just to place on the bench. Now, I'm not saying it's a good attacker, we'll get into the attacks and everything in a second, but straight away you're thinking, well, that can go on the bench, that can help me out a lot, because there are a lot of tanky GXs which have a lot of big retreat costs. We will go through some of them, so this is definitely going to come into play very nicely with some of them. We also have, for the second move, we have Plasma Fist, and that is for 2 lightning and 1 colourless. We could just say 3 lightning, but it depends. So there's no beast energy that you can attach to this, not an ultra beast at all, so don't think of putting that colourless as an beast energy, don't think of that. But you've got 2 lightning, 1 colourless. That's, it's pretty easy to power up. And it does 160 damage. Only thing is, it can't attack during your next turn. Think Lapras hits for, is it 130 or 160? I think it is 160. I think Blizzard Burn is 160. And you can't attack next turn. But think, you've got 3 energies on that. It's got free retreat. That is pretty cool. That is pretty cool indeed. I'm liking that a lot. And then the last move is a full voltage GX. For just 1 lightning, attach 5 basic energy cards from your discard pile to your Pokemon in any way you like. So bearing in mind, you've got lightning on this already. You attach another 2, you can get some damage. The other 3 can go on anything else you want. That is pretty cool. This Pokemon, I think, could see a bit of play. Me, personally, I think this could see a lot of play. Obviously, I think it would fit into Lightning decks a lot better. Although, saying that, I'm pretty sure there's a new Rayquaza coming out in our newest set, which will be Celestial Storm. Hopefully, there'll be a video coming up of that pretty soon. But yeah, Rayquaza GX does have lightning, so that's going to be pretty cool to actually put with Rayquaza to give it free retreat. I think it is a flying type, so maybe it's got 1. I don't think it would have free retreat, but I'm not too sure. We will get into a review of that though, so don't worry about that. But this is what I'm getting at. You already have the 1 lightning on it. You attach 2 to this, because you can attach this to any Pokemon in any way you like. The other 3 that you haven't attached to this can go anywhere. So you could power up anything, and we'll get into the different Pokemon which that can help to power up in a second. Now, of course, when it is knocked out, you take 2 prizes. We know that for a GX. It is weak to fighting, which I think might be its only sort of hindrance. Unless maybe you put a weakness policy on this thing, then yeah, it's gonna get one shot by Buzzwole easily. It's Lycanroc would probably destroy this. Even the baby Buzzwole as well would probably get through that. So yeah, that's looking pretty scary. But weakness policy would stop that. Of course, you do have Field Blower, so that would get away. But it could work. It could work. I still think this is bench worthy for that ability and a pretty good attacker just to do the attack and then draw it back out the next turn. All good. It has a resistance to metal, which obviously is -20, so that's fair enough. And the retreat is 2. However, if you put 1 lightning on this, it has free retreat, which is amazing. So that is pretty cool indeed. So moving on, what works? Well, let's go through a few things here that we know that are lightning orientated that would work. First being Magnezone. Now I say Magnezone because obviously Magnetic Circuit, as often as you like during your turn, you may attach a lightning energy card from your hand to one of your Pokemon. Now think about this. You do the GX, fair enough. You can put out as much lightning energy as you want. That's all cool. You get this though from your hand, so the hand is then dispersing because of Magnezone. So that is definitely very, very cool to get that going nice and quickly. We also have Tapu Koko GX. Now, a lot of people use this for the ability. Think you've just put like the 3 on during the GX, then you place this down, it uses the ability, it takes all the energy, goes up to the active, and it can do either, it can't do the GX, but it can do 130, which isn't a bad amount, especially if it's got a choice band 160, it's doing what Zeraora would be doing. So there is that to think of. There is also a Alolan Golem GX, which I think is a pretty awesome Pokemon. Number one, I'm biased because I absolutely love the look of this guy. The moves themselves, they're pretty cool. And to be able to do the Zeraora GX with this, you're already powering up to do Hammering, that's fair enough, but you only have to attach 1 more energy. Now think you've got Magnetic Circuit in play. You do that straight onto that, you can start doing Super Electromagnetic Tackle for 200. Of course, it does do 50 to itself, but look at the HP on this thing. It can take a few hits itself, and 200 plus a choice band, you're knocking out a majority of things. Obviously, it wouldn't be knocking out itself because it has a HP of 250, which is insane for a GX. But yeah, that's something to definitely think of. Of course, there is also 8th Paradise Conservation Area. You get that in play. All basic lightning Pokemon, this is what we're on about, they would take 30 less damage. So I mean that's pretty cool. Number one, because you're not going to get hit for the full amount of 190. You get that 30 resistance right there. That's pretty cool. We also do have Electro GX. Now, obviously, this one hasn't come out just yet, but it will be coming out in Celestial Storm. There will be a review coming up of that, so we'll learn what this thing does. The ability itself is basically, it's like self-destruct, so it will self-destruct itself. Your opponent will get 2 prizes, but you can then put 5 energies, I believe, from your discard pile onto any Pokemon you like. It's not bad, but I'm just trying to think of maybe the moves. The one move there I think is for Lightning and a Colourless is 50, and then there's a Lightning and a Colourless for a GX. Like I said though, we'll get into some reviews of these guys, because obviously they will be coming out pretty soon, so to learn what we can from them before the actual pre-releases will be awesome. So that's something to think of, Electro GX. This is a big one that I'm thinking of, Raichu GX. Now, Powerful Spark, it has seen a bit of play. I believe there was a Pachirisu that came out in Crimson Invasion that had the ability Nuzzle. And I think for every Pokemon that had the attack Nuzzle, they would receive a Lightning Energy. There was a Full Art promo that came out in Generations, which people use for that. Unfortunately, that will be getting rotated. But having Zeraora be able to put 5 energies any way you like, you could place 3 onto Raichu, but you could put 2 there, 1 on something else and 2 on Zeraora, so you're powering up Zeraora, you're powering up Raichu for attack, and you're also getting a 5th energy going, which is going to do 20 plus, and this attack does 20 more damage, times the amount of lightning energy. You're doing 120 there. Say you have Magnezone in play, you got 2 in your hand, you place them down, you're doing some pretty decent damage there. Of course, Raichu is weak to fighting. What I like to sort of look for is something that isn't weak for the same thing. So there are a few like water Pokemon, for example, or fire Pokemon, which aren't like weak to water, for example, with fire, and Ho-Oh is weak to lightning. So there is that sort of stuff going around. And the last thing I think to mention is Volkner. I don't think a lot of people use this, obviously, when it came out in Ultra Prism. But it does say, search your deck for an item card and a lightning energy. So you play Volkner, you're doing the Zeraora GX attack. Of course, you are powering up, but it's a GX ability, a GX move, so you're going to be handing it over to your opponent. But doing Volkner, you can get an item, maybe get a weakness policy, you can get another lightning energy. You're looking pretty cool if you play Volkner with this. It's just a few things to think of in terms of what might work quite well with this card. So, yeah, there we go. Pretty cool indeed. I can't think of anything off the top of my head that might else work. But that Zeraora ability, having free retreat, is going to definitely save a few of these here. Tapu Koko having 2 retreat. Raichu, I think, having 2 retreat. No, it has 1. Okay, fair enough. I think Alolan Golem's got 3. So yeah, that's going to be pretty interesting indeed. So moving on from that, of course, we're going to go to some other stuff, which is actually coming out in this set. And I think this could also work very nicely with Zeraora. So we have this little thing right here, which is an item card, and it is called Electric Power. What does that do exactly? Well, during this turn, your lightning Pokemon's attack do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. Now, this is pretty cool, right? Think of this. You have a Choice Band on. You then Volkner. You get some more lightning energy, maybe a one-off on your Zeraora to do an attack. You place the lightning energy on there. You grab an item, possibly this. You've got the Choice Band attached already. Bang. You are doing what would have been 160, 190... 220. You're knocking out a Zoroark, so that's going to be pretty cool. I think that might be pretty cool. It might be pretty cool indeed. Volkner could definitely be seeing a little bit of a, well, not comeback, but could actually be useful in this deck to help it out a bit. But I think Zeraora is a pretty cool Pokemon nevertheless. Another thing is this card right here, which is actually a Prism Stadium. Pretty cool indeed. Now, obviously, that does mean there's only one of this stadium, which is a little bit annoying. And you can't search it out with... you can't search it out with Volkner because it's not an item. I'm trying to think how you can get a stadium card out. Lusamine wouldn't. Palpad just does no. Order Pad, I think, is items. So yeah, this is going to be very luck-based to try and get this. But what does it do? Let's have a little look. Thunder Mountain Prism Star. Of course, it is a stadium. So the first one, the attacks of each player's lightning Pokemon cost 1 less. Now think you play this, you play Alolan Golem, you power up your Zeraora, you put in 2 energies on the Zeraora, you put 3 on the Alolan Golem. This is in play. Alolan Golem can do its second attack for 200. Of course, it does do 50 to itself, but it's pretty cool. It is pretty cool. Now, it's not just that, it also has this. As long as this stadium is in play, whenever a player uses an item or supporter card from their hand, prevent all effects of those cards done to this stadium. For example, say they play Field Blower, it won't affect this. Field Blower is completely out of question. Now, it does say prevent all effects of these cards done to this stadium. It doesn't say to all cards, so they could still Field Blow the stuff on your Pokemon, but just not the stadium. The supporter, I'm trying to think what supporter sort of gets rid of... Ooh, is there a supporter... Oh, I know, maybe, what's it called? Bonnie. I think Bonnie, if if there's a stadium in play, you discard it, and then you can get the Zygarde GX's ability back. Does that cancel it out? I'm guessing so. It does say supporter cards, so yeah, pretty much. I'm trying to think off the top of my head if there's any others which include discarding. I know there's Pokemon attacks which do say, for example, Gyarados, if there's a stadium card in play, this card does more, and you have to discard it. So yeah, that could be interesting. It doesn't say there anything about Pokemon being stopped by the card. But yeah, that's definitely something to think about, especially with 1 less Pokemon cost for the attacks. That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool indeed. So moving on from that, we can then crack on with Guess the GX. So in our previous one, I gave you this little picture right here. So what are we thinking? What are we thinking? Like what is it? What is it? Well, I'll give you a little bit more of a hint if you haven't already guessed. It is from Forbidden Light. And I believe it's a Gen 6 starter. Or at least when it's evolved. Yes, of course, it is Greninja GX. There you go. Greninja GX, that was the card that was seen. You can see exactly it was that sort of tongue scarf going around his neck. That is exactly what I took from the card. So today's one, we're going to have Guess the GX again. So what do we have? Well, we have this picture right here. There it is larger. And there it is larger again. So what do you think, guys? What is that Pokemon? You might have to sort of think, if anyone's from like Japan, they might not have seen this just yet, but if you're from the UK and you're interested in Gen 2, you might be able to guess what this is. But yeah, pretty cool indeed. A very cool card though, you know, basing it, Zeraora is seriously looking pretty good indeed. It's going to help a lot of lightning decks, and there's a lot of lightning based stuff that's going to be coming out in the next set, which doesn't have an English name just yet, but it is SM7a, which is pretty cool. Which is yeah, it's looking pretty cool already. So I'm excited. I am definitely very, very excited. But there we go, guys. I hope you have enjoyed. If you have enjoyed, then make sure to hit that subscribe button below. Comment down below your thoughts on Zeraora. Do you think it's a pretty cool Pokemon? Which other cards do you think might work with it? And of course, rate the video as well, so I know that you're enjoying the series and you want to see more of these news updates and check out these cards. Without further ado, I'll leave it here, and I will see you guys in the next video on the channel.